At Total Pharmacy Care, we fill your prescriptions and answer any questions about your medications. No distractions and no long lines. Tell your doctor to send your prescriptions to Total Pharmacy Care. All right, welcome back. It's another episode of Unwired Appalachia. It's season 2, episode 15. Shout out, and I'm taking it way back with this one. Shout out to Jeff Shephard, maybe my favorite all-time, one of my favorite all-time UK players. I'm not going to say my favorite all-time because I have like
If you're going to give it to Jeff Shephard, I'm going DeMarcus Cousins because he's one of my all-time favorite interviews.
Yeah.
The guy is just, if you've never talked to him in person, he is just a comedian. The dude is just hilarious all the time.
Yeah, and we want to see him hurry and get back this year.
And he almost killed me one time at UK. I was underneath the basket taking photos, and somebody was falling on top of me. DeMarcus, he's a large human being.
And was much larger then.
Oh, yeah, and I was scared for my life.
I bet. That's a big tree. Big tree fall hard, right?
Yes.
So welcome back to another episode. We're a man short today. We're about $110 short today.
Yeah, $110
110 pounds short. Randy White, regional sports editor for the Appalachian newspapers. I'm Wes. Corey behind the camera. Real quick, want to say thank you to our sponsors. Bruce Walters. Bruce Walters has just updated pricing on all of their new inventory. So if you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, check them out at brucewaltersford.net. Also sponsored by Nova Pharmacy and Caremore Pharmacy. It's flu season, and the professional pharmacists at Nova Pharmacy and Caremore Pharmacy want you to get vaccinated. Call Joel or Sandy Thornberry today and get vaccinated and stay healthy. Nova Pharmacy is 606-432-2274, and Caremore Pharmacy 606-639-2273. Great people, Joel and Sandy.
Oh,
great people.
Wonderful. We're also brought to you by Presbyterian Homes of Cedar Creek and Good Shepherd at Phelps. If you're looking for quality care for loved ones, look no further than Presbyterian Homes of Cedar Creek and Good Shepherd at Phelps. Both facilities treat your loved ones with care and respect. They offer therapy, daily activities, exquisite cuisine, and home-like settings that make your family members feel at home. Call to schedule an appointment today. At Cedar Creek, call Trevor's wife, Jessica Thacker, at 432-8243, and at Good Shepherd, call 456-8725. Caring for your loved ones is what we do best.
And listen, there's only one place for us to start this episode, and that's the high school state championships wrapped up this weekend. And to say that the Mountain Boys, the Eastern Kentucky kids, went down there and took care of business is the understatement of the century.
Understatement.
These kids really went down, and all of them. Yeah. I mean, a great bunch of games, obviously a few closer than others, but let's just start out talking about the two teams from Eastern Kentucky matched up against each other in Class A, Pikeville and Paintsville.
Pikeville, we've talked about how explosive they are all season.
Yeah.
They showed it. And give credit to Paintsville. I mean, to me, what it looked like was Pikeville had been there last year. They knew what to expect. They were hungry to win a state championship. They were focused. They knew what they had to do.
Right.
Paintsville, they come out and they have a fumble early. Pikeville scores within, 15 seconds. They're up 7-0. That's a bit overwhelming sometimes when you've never been. You don't know what to expect, and then that soon you're behind the 8 ball. No disrespect to Paintsville. They settled down. John Walker Phelps rushed for about 100 yards, but Pikeville was just on another level that game and all season, really. Pikeville was just, so many weapons. And we got to talk about Jackson Hensley's 2 state championship games the last 2 years. He's had 4 touchdowns. I mean, he had 150 yards last year and 2 touchdowns. Gets hurt in the third. He might have been the difference, if he doesn't get hurt, who knows. Last year, that might be the reason they didn't win back-to-back. But this year, he had 2 catches, 79 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The kid is just a playmaker. You got to account for him at all times. And, that second touchdown of the game after that fumble recovery was Jackson Hensley.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's a guy that obviously Pikeville's going to miss a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to wish him a lot of luck, and you're going to see him in baseball season still. He's a big baseball guy,
and then you'll see him next Saturday at Harvard. I mean, he's a Harvard commit.
Right.
And we're working on some stories, too. There was, some coaches from the Ivy League at Pikeville High School last week during that extra week. That's what extra week of practice does.
Right.
Who knows who's going to show up and what? There were some guys from Yale, Harvard. I think even the Citadel were at some of Pikeville practices last week. So we hadn't mentioned that all week, but we're working on a little bit of a story. We've got some interviews with the Yale offensive coordinator or wide receivers coach.
Oh.
A lot of good stuff there.
One thing we know is Harvard is getting an absolutely electric athlete.
Absolutely.
Electric athlete.
I mean, some of these other kids are going to get some looks. Cody Raines is going to get some looks. I mean, Sports Center top 10, number 4, he had a play, and we've got a highlight on all of our social media if you want to look at it. But, I mean, Sports Center picked it up from WYMT. I think it was Will Puckett's highlight, which, those guys do a great job as well. But the kid hurdles a player, and while he's in the air, he spins.
Yeah.
And lands on his feet and takes it to the house.
It doesn't end up counting, which is ridiculous.
Ridiculous, because they said, both defenders' feet are on the ground. I mean,
I don't understand this rule.
I
don't understand.
If the defender's down, how it's supposed to be, if they're down on like a knee or on 2 knees, you can hurdle them.
If both
feet are
not on the ground.
Yeah, if both feet are not on the ground.
It's almost as if you get penalized for being a great athlete.
Yeah, and it's just a.
Not only that, he got horse collared in the end zone.
Yeah, that too.
And then that flag didn't even matter at that point because that play was
right.
So I mean, it's just one of those things. You hate to see that rule, but you can't deny the athleticism, the explosiveness. I mean, Pikeville's got that all over the field. I mean,
they do.
Isaac McNamee, sophomore quarterback, what an outing he had.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns, 12 of 20, 210 yards. I mean, this kid is he's super efficient. I mean, we've said it before, we usually see him. It takes him a series or two to settle in, but once he settles in, I mean, this kid's locked.
It's not over, and the other thing we haven't even mentioned so far, a shutout in a state championship game. That defense has been playing well. We've talked about it. And, we got to give a lot of credit to defensive coordinator Paul Sullivan and his guys. That defense led by John Collum and those linebackers, Connor Wright, Brody Birchfield, linebacker who got the fumble recovery to start everything. I mean, we can go down a list of each of those guys at Pikeville in the defense and talk about how great they are individually, but collectively they're just as good.
Yeah, it's safe to say Pikeville was just a team with no weaknesses.
No,
they do it on both sides of the ball.
For a Class A team, speed kills. That was the difference. I mean, nothing against Paintsville, but first time being there, it was
on
a little,
the big stage too. Playing at Kroger Field, that's tough.
It's a different thing, and Pikeville all year they've had one goal in to win a state title. They did it. Congrats to them. Congrats to Paintsville. We're not taking anything from Paintsville. That is a heck of an accomplishment just to get to a state championship game.
Yeah, they grind out this season. They played Pikeville tough in that first matchup, and definitely a big congrats to Coach Chirico and the Paintsville Tigers. And then the second game that day was another big matchup of 2 mountain teams, the 2 winningest coaches of all time in the history of Kentucky State football, and that's Bell County and Belfry, and that one was an absolute barn burner.
Barn burner from the get-go. I mean, very similar styles. Bell County had a dynamic quarterback in London Stephanie. I mean, the kid is, if you've never seen him play, he's the real deal. He's quick, he's athletic, he can throw on the run, he can make plays. But Isaac Dixon was the story for Belfry. I mean, he was not giving up on any run play. He was dialed in from the get-go, and he has a burst of speed that a lot of people don't realize that he has. And, he put it on display. He kept busting big run after big run. I mean.
Yeah, 228 yards, 3 touchdowns, also only a junior. So another year
he's coming back.
of Isaac Dixon you're going to get to see this year. And Belfry able to pull out a 30-20 win over a tough Bell County team, gets touchdowns from Ben Bentley, 52 yards, and then Peyton Hensley also with 98 yards. And I heard an interview with Philip Haywood where he talked about this Belfry team getting better as the season went on, and we can attest to that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We saw them early in the season. This looked like a completely different team from the team we saw in the Pike County Bowl.
And as long as I've been doing this 16 years now, and Philip Haywood has always said we're just going to get better each week. each week, game by game, and we'll be a pretty good team by
That's
playoff
not
time.
just coach speak.
It's not just coach
Yeah.
speak. He's done it. He proved it again this year. It's like when they had those 2 losses. We kept saying Belfry's going to be fine. They had injuries early on. Last game of the regular season, they get beat by Johnson Central.
Mm-hmm.
We kept saying Belfry's going to be fine. They're built for playoff football.
Right.
They play a physical style. That team defense, oh my goodness, that team defense is just, they get to you and they'll hit you. I mean, there was some licks on that Friday night, and you could just hear those helmets popping. I mean, I'm sure some of those Bell County guys were glad when that game ended because, I mean, they were getting lit up.
Well, and a lot like Pikeville, just another team with a lot of team speed and very physical on the defensive side of the ball. And Belfry brings it. So 2 Eastern Kentucky teams win state championships the first day in Pike County. Bring them home to Pike County.
We've had Belfry and Pikeville both win state championships in 2015.
Right.
But it was like 3 days apart. This is the first time they've ever won a state championship on the same day. I mean, Pikeville, this is their 5th total. This is Belfry's 7th total state championship. Belfry this decade has just been
unbelievable. 5 state titles and 8 appearances this decade.
Just
this decade. And Philip Haywood, 13 state title appearances, wins his 7th.
His 7th.
What can you say about that?
He's 1 win away from 450 career wins. I mean, he is in the top 10 active coaches. He's right around 7 or 8 now. I don't have the exact number. I have to check that. But, I mean, he is a top 7 or 8 all-time active head coach. And then overall in the history of the game, he's a top 15, probably 10, 12 overall.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just a national treasure that is right here in Eastern Kentucky that, you hear all this respect and you hear people they're in awe over the guy. But you meet him and you understand, like, he teaches everything the right way.
That's right.
I mean, these kids grow up and they come back to the program. Most of his staff are guys that played for him.
Right, that's correct.
I mean, Belfry football means something to that community over there and to the players and the parent. I mean, everybody. Belfry football means something. It is pride. They take pride of it. And when you see the crowd down there Friday night, they show up.
Yeah, they show up. We can definitely attest to that. So Pikeville and Belfry set the tone on the first day of games there at Kroger Field in Lexington. Bring home state championships to Pike County, and then the other team in your coverage area at least, Johnson Central going up against Boyle County. Now, Boyle County gave Johnson, they poked the bear a little bit on this one.
Yeah.
We all know about the stuff that kind of came out a couple of days before the game.
And that was an administrator. And, here's my whole take.
All-time bonehead.
All
move.
time.
All time.
If you want to talk trash, talk trash. Make sure there's no cameras around, though, if you're going to say
Which there always are.
Which
now,
there
by the
always
way.
are. There always are. So now if you talk trash, do it in a more respectful way. Because here's my feeling, honestly. If you're from Boyle County and anybody's ever been to Danville, it's not like New York City.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I mean,
it's Danville. All respect due to Danville. I know a lot of good people from Danville.
There might not be hollers, but I mean,
there are hollers.
I mean, it's still East.
It's Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah. So I like that whole thing, and I'm sure the guy probably meant it as a joke.
100%.
But it fired Johnson Central up. Jim Matney probably didn't have to say a word, but he did because he's Jim Matney and he's an all-time. He's an all-time motor. I mean, he says the right thing. After the game, he gave an interview. We've got over 100,000 views of Jim Matney's interview. I've never seen Eastern Kentucky come together more over a sporting for one team than that. Like that just solidified all of Eastern Kentucky. I don't care where you were from Eastern Kentucky. You were rooting for Johnson Central to win that game.
Yeah, and all rivalries aside, it was really cool to see just how this community in general really embraced not just Belfry and Pikeville, but also Johnson Central.
Yeah,
everybody was rooting for Johnson Central.
There might have been more people rooting for Johnson Central in the state of Kentucky than anywhere. I mean, I think pretty much the whole state was rooting for Johnson Central after that stuff came out. And like I said before, it's probably a bad joke on that guy's part.
Yeah,
but
it's 2019, about to be 2020. There's a camera everywhere.
Jim Matney, go listen to that interview. He talked about, like, he's always been, since I've known him for 15 years now, always been an advocate for Eastern Kentucky kids. Yeah. He's always said they're good enough. People's always told them they're not, that they're stupid because of the way they talk. And he's always say, don't believe that stuff. And then you have somebody that comes out and says that before you play Johnson. And maybe that guy has heard him talk like that before and just, trying to make some fun. But who knows? Either way, you don't say stuff like that nowadays.
Especially if you're not also from Eastern Kentucky.
Exactly.
I mean, come on. So Johnson Cedar, really this is a storybook ending. You get Belfry, you get Pikeville, and Johnson Central, bringing home state championships. So congratulations to all those guys.
And we didn't really even talk about the game a whole lot. Riley Priest started his career at Johnson Central with a state championship, and he ends one. That's a bookend.
Bookends, yeah.
Devin Johnson, he has a big touchdown. He's going to be playing Youngstown State, I believe, next year, along with Belfry's Ben Bentley. So 2 guys going to – Cody Rice has a big game. They create 4 turnovers, Johnson Central does. They just play smash-mouth football, and they keep on and on. And, at the end, Boyle was driving, and Johnson Central makes a defensive stand to win the game. Boyle could have tried a field goal, and I think it was on the 24-yard line, so they could have probably tried a 41-yard field goal and had a legit shot making it. But Johnson Central's defense held up, and, that's you play defense and you run the ball. And if you've not seen Grant Bingham and Owen LeMaster on the right side of that line,
yeah, big time.
Oh my! The whole line is good, but
Big
Grant
time.
Bingham, oh my goodness, they get out and they block, they pull.
Guys you're going to see playing on Saturday.
Oh, and
without
they're
question.
sophomores.
They're sophomores. Yeah,
Oh,
you're
my
going to see
goodness.
these guys playing on Saturday. Then a team that's technically a mountain school, although out of the coverage area for you guys, was.
See, I always have trouble calling Somerset an Eastern Kentucky team.
It's not.
Anytime
it's
you're
southern.
that far away, it's southern. They're mountains.
Yeah,
we
that's
call them
mountains.
mountain,
Yeah,
mountain
it's a
football.
mountain school for sure. So that was Somerset versus Mayfield in the.
What an ending!
And you all told me that maybe the best game of all of them.
Maybe the best high school game I've covered in 16 years now. I've seen some dandy games at state championships. Belfry's, I've seen them in Central in some classics. You name it, we've seen everybody in some of the good games.
Right.
But this game is Mayfield is trailing the whole time. They come back, they score. They create a fumble off of a kickoff. Somerset fumbles. They score again in 11 seconds to go up 34 to whatever it makes it. They go up 34, I think, or 31-28. They go up 3. Well, they get the ball back after holding Somerset again. Mm-hmm. Somerset gets the ball was in the fourth quarter, 29 seconds left. They had got to go 93 yards.
It's a big ask.
That's a big ask.
Yeah.
So they hit a quick out route. Maybe get a flag, a 15-yard penalty here. Another quick out route, another flag. So they're moving the ball steadily. So last play of the game, they throw it in the end zone. Mayfield is out of timeouts at this point. DB gets lost, just gets lost. So he tackles the kid in the end zone. He can't make the flags throw. They get one untimed down from about the 20-25. The DBs for Mayfield are confused. They have no idea.
It's chaos at the end.
Chaos. They see 3 guys in a bunch formation on the left side.
Yeah.
So everybody's running over there, but they don't realize they've still got a receiver on this right side. The DB sees it. He's trying to get his way back. End zone wide open. Quarterback finds him. We're thinking, no, he's too wide open. He's going to no. He just a spectacular, and he catches the football. Just phenomenal. The whole place. I think everybody over there was cheering. I don't think anybody was sitting down. That place was rocking and rolling. Great crowds in that too. And it was just a phenomenal game. And me and Corey just got to sit there and enjoy that one as fans.
Well, and I know several people actually who are big Somerset alums, and I can attest to Somerset has huge fan base.
Oh yeah.
So Somerset ends up getting the big 34-31 win in what most people are saying the best game of all of the games down at the state championship. And then the 5A state championship, Covington Catholic beats Frederick Douglass 14-7. And then Louisville Trinity 28-6 over Louisville Mel. And maybe a little bit of an
upset that last one.
Huge, but again, we just want to say huge congratulations to all of the mountain teams, to Pikeville, to Belfry to Johnson Central, and let's, obviously Paintsville, congratulations on a special season.
A lot of Mountain pride right now
Yeah.
across the board. I mean, we had a good showing. A lot of people are proud of what the Mountains did, and they should be because these kids, the thing we always tell people, we're isolated. Not a lot of people get to see these kids outside of us. So, now people get to see what kind of style of football Eastern Kentucky plays, the athletes we have.
Well, and what they saw, too, is between all of these teams, they saw a few different styles of play.
Yeah.
Pikeville plays a much different style than Belfry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lots of different – there's just a ton of talent, a ton of great coaching in the Mountains that you cannot deny.
The one thing that is a constant is the physicality.
That's
I mean,
a fact.
these Mountain kids, they like to hit people.
Yeah, so congratulations again, and congratulations to the community on, just a point of pride for these mountain teams that go down to Kroger Field and get it done this
And
week.
we're still not quite done with football season. Look out for our all mountains teams. I don't know where
I'm not looking forward to it.
It's gonna. I don't know how we're
What do
going to
you
do
do?
it. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to try our best. We might make some people angry because we can't fit everybody on the first team or second team. I mean,
And you can't have 15 teams. I mean, there's just so many players. Maybe more than we think.
It's a good problem to have,
I
but
guess.
it's still we don't know what exactly we're going to do.
Whittling it down to first team, second team, third team, and honorable mention is going to be tough.
It's going to be tough.
Be on the lookout for that. We will be getting together with all the guys who cover the region in high school football and trying to get that list together and getting it out to you as soon as possible.
Yeah.
All right. So with the championship Saturday in college football behind us, the bowl selection show was yesterday, so we know who's going to be in the college football playoff. Got some really good matchups. Basically all of the championship games, all chalk.
All chalk.
All the winners, all the favorites ended up coming out with big wins, although Ohio State was on the ropes in the first half. But so we'll jump right into the first playoff game, which is going to be the Peach Bowl. Oklahoma, who had Utah ended up beating Oregon in the Pac-12 championship, I think it would have been way tougher to put Oklahoma in.
Yeah, it would have been. I mean, it's hard to argue, against a one-loss team.
Right.
But, I mean, again, they won. Oregon beat Utah, so no controversy there. It played out.
Here's the thing: it made it very easy for the playoff committee
top 4 teams
to pick
easy.
these teams.
It's very clear.
So Oklahoma goes up against LSU. My guys, Coach O, they get to the number 1 ranking. LSU had been the number 2 team in the country. They end up jumping Ohio State to take back that number 1 ranking.
Dominant performance, though.
Just beat the hell out of Georgia. I mean, Georgia really couldn't do anything with this LSU. And LSU's offense gets what they want.
Yeah,
they get what they want.
But, here's the other thing, though. Oklahoma's offense, it's going to be hard. They're going to put up some points. I don't know how many they put up on LSU, but they're going to put up some points.
Yeah, and we've got these opening lines. These lines, that's the thing I hate about this. We basically got a month before these games happen, so these lines are going to
move everywhere.
Right now, LSU opens up as a 12.5-point favorite. The over/under in this game 76. You got to love the over.
Got to love the over. I mean, you're probably
they might
thinking
score
90.
200 points in this game.
You got to think at least it'll move to 80 by the time the month is over.
If there's anything that we know, they play no defense in the Big 12. Oklahoma's defense has been better than last year, still not great.
It's not great.
LSU, on the other hand, also historically a very good defensive program. That's kind of been the weak spot for them. They've had games where they played pretty good.
But they do have talent on that side of the ball. They have a lot of talent.
Always have talent on that side of the ball, but their defense hasn't been as good as some of the years past where we expect LSU's defense to be.
I mean, they're always known for producing defensive linemen and linebackers and a few secondary guys here too. So
we're probably, in this college football playoff, we have a chance of seeing the top draft pick this year and next year, because the second playoff game is the ACC champion Clemson Tigers, reigning national champion Clemson Tigers, versus the Ohio State Buckeyes, who, as we said before, first half did not look good against Wisconsin. I think it cost them the #1 ranking.
Yeah, it had to.
Definitely, with the way LSU handled Georgia. Ohio State opens up a 2-point favorite, and the over/under 63.5. I think this is the better of the two games, just
by
on
far.
paper.
By far, this is a good matchup. This is two complete teams, good quarterbacks, good offenses, good defenses, a lot of speed. I mean, they're very similar teams.
Yeah.
Very similar teams.
And possibly the #1 and #2 pick overall next year, because Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, you got to think, are going to be 1 and 2.
Got to be.
Justin Fields is a great player, by the way.
And Trevor Lawrence, what he's done in his career in just 2 seasons is incredible.
And let's not forget, possibly the #1 overall pick this year, Chase Young. Who Wisconsin, if you watch any of that game, dedicated half of their offensive line to blocking this one guy who was just an absolute monster.
They were chipping. They were doing everything, bringing 2 guys. They were
bringing
pulling
3 guys sometimes.
Sometimes, I mean, everything. I mean, and you got to do that. He's that good.
All right, so we'll just go ahead and make preliminary picks for these. Oklahoma versus LSU. LSU 12.5-point favorite. What do you think is going to play out?
I like
in this
LSU, but I think it's tied. I think it comes down to like a 3-point game here or there. I think it's probably going to be like something like 47-44 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, and we know Jalen Hurts has been there. I
do like Jalen Hurts in this style of play on this stage. I think he's one of these kids who step up on a big stage and he's going to have a good game. But I don't think it's enough. I think LSU's a little bit too good for him.
Well, and Jalen Hurts, I think, is the first player. Well, definitely the first player to take 2 teams to the college football playoff quarterback. I think LSU's going to win too.
I don't think they're going to cover. I mean, I look for it. I would take Oklahoma to cover that all day. That 12.5. I think that's a bit steep.
Well, I think that probably comes down to 6 by game time.
Yeah, you would imagine.
6 and a
half.
But
if you're getting in on this early, you want that 12.5. Like if I was going to do it, I'm going to do it today or tomorrow. Well, I got that big of a spot because I know that's not going to last.
Well, I think Oklahoma definitely has a better offense than Georgia. I think Oklahoma is able to keep it a little bit closer than Georgia. Ultimately, I think LSU's the better team. They win the game. And then I know I probably don't even have to ask you this, Clemson versus Ohio State.
I've been big on Clemson all year. I think they're the best team. I know they've not played him, but I know that's the knock. But they go out and take care of it. Like that, Virginia had no shot. No chance. So, to me, I just think they're just too good right now. They're ready for the big stage. This is what they play for, The same thing with Ohio State, but, I think it's a little different right now. I think, Coach Sweeney's got those guys dialed in. They know they're the top program in the land right now. I think they're going to show up and prove it.
Well, Dabo Swinney's using this #3 ranking, and then just the fact that they're being – we talked about this a little before we came on. If we go back to the BCS era, then Clemson, as the reigning national champion, undefeated, probably doesn't get in the national championship.
No, they're left out in the cold.
So Dabo Swinney, you can guarantee, is using this as bulletin board material and a means to motivate his team. Man, I love Ohio State. They're so good. I don't know what happened to them in that Wisconsin game.
They're good.
Wisconsin really had a good game plan in the first half of that game. Ohio State just ended up being too much. I think Ohio State may, across the board, have more talent than anybody.
They might, yeah.
Even LSU.
That's an argument.
I'm going to pick Ohio State in this game, but I don't feel great about it. I think that I could see either one of these teams coming out of this thing with a win. I'm going to go Ohio State, but man,
I think it's a pick.
That's tough. That's so tough.
I think it's a pick.
What a great game that
yeah,
should be.
And that's just the setup for the national championship. That's the semifinal. So we're going to get one more great game after that, regardless. So to me, it's going to be crazy.
Right. I mean, we've got to wait 3 weeks. Wouldn't you like to see another playoff game in there?
Yeah.
Just somewhere, 8 teams.
You could have started.
Right.
You could have started this way.
It's also good to see a college football playoff without Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm okay with Alabama not being.
I don't understand.
Take a step back.
I've never understood, the conference pride and everybody here rooting for all the SEC teams.
I don't care about any other SEC team.
I don't. I never have. Like you don't see the same thing in basketball.
No.
I don't see that in basketball.
No. If Tennessee or Florida's in, I want them to get beat.
Yeah.
If anything.
And Alabama's just too much to me, man.
Yeah.
Like, it is too much. It's down my throat too
Well,
much.
and you've heard a lot, Bama 1 year doesn't make it to the college football playoff. You hear people talking about, is this the end of the Alabama, the Nick Saban dynasty? Come on.
No, not
Come
at all.
on.
Those people just need to hold their breath, take a step back, chill a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a crazy
Yes,
thought. I
yeah.
mean, he's going to be top 1, 2, 3 recruiting
Yeah,
Alabama's going to
they're
be fine.
They're fine.
They'll be okay. And then we'll go ahead and talk about Kentucky. Kentucky gets into the Belk Bowl in Charlotte, which is a good location for us.
Not bad.
I think Kentucky fans travel well. We know that. And maybe even better for Kentucky, we go up against Virginia Tech, and we know the ACC stinks. I love this matchup. Kentucky opens up as a 2.5-point underdog to Virginia Tech. That's on name alone.
And it
Because
has to
Virginia
be.
Tech stinks.
That's true, but Kentucky's got to get to the point of consistency.
That's
That's our problem right now. We're getting there.
We're getting there.
Now we got to start winning these bowls every
Yeah.
year. Like last year, we bounced back after a lot of talent graduating going to the NFL last year.
Yeah.
Now we got to come back and prove it again. To me, I like proving it.
Yeah, and the money's going to be on Kentucky in this game. I got to think by the time this game kicks off, which I got to think Kentucky's going to end up probably being a 2.5-point or 3-point favorite in this game. But I don't know. I just think the ACC is so weak this year that maybe just on the name Virginia Tech alone, that's why they're the favorite in this game. But I love the matchup. I don't know if you've heard.
This ain't Frank Beamer's Virginia
No, this
Tech.
isn't Beamer Ball.
No.
That's long gone. And I don't know if you heard anything about the little dust up that Tennessee had. Or I think originally Kentucky was going to be considered for the Gator Bowl. Tennessee kind of in the 11th
reason why
hour.
we hate Tennessee.
Oh, if there was any other, I didn't need any more ammunition.
No, but this is what they do consistently
Right.
to us.
And Tennessee did beat us this year. Okay, they did beat us.
And that's a much bigger bowl, much bigger payout,
Yeah.
much bigger stage.
They go up against Indiana.
I mean, everything's more lucrative, I mean, a lot of money lost there for the state. And who knows what recruits could be watching that aren't, decided that might be thinking Kentucky and maybe not see them now.
Yeah, and the one and only time I'll ever be rooting for Indiana very hard.
Yeah.
I hope Indiana beats them to death.
Yeah, I don't care who Tennessee's playing. I'm rooting for the other team.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't care what sport and anything.
That's a good point.
You hear a lot of people even in basketball even talk about Duke. If Duke was playing, I'd be rooting for Duke to beat Tennessee.
Yeah,
I
me
mean,
too.
I hate
hate Tennessee
I
and
hate 'em.
Florida. Yeah,
I hate 'em.
them both. But here's the bottom line: Kentucky getting a win over Virginia Tech sounds better than getting a win over Indiana.
It does.
You know what I mean? Virginia Tech historically, in the past anyway, been a very good football program. So a lot of Kentucky fans guaranteed will travel to Charlotte. We should have a good turnout for this game. I think Kentucky ends up getting a big win. Obviously, I know you're not going to pick Virginia Tech. So we'll see what happens to that. Belk Bowl, Charlotte. And, also, LSU and Oklahoma play on the same day at the same time as Kentucky plays Louisville in basketball.
Ooh, that's a tough
Yeah.
one. We got to find a place
We
with
need
two
two
TVs.
TVs. Yeah, multiple TVs at the same time as Louisville in basketball. So
We got to get our planning started now.
yeah, we're going to have to go ahead and get on that. All right, thanks again for joining us for episode 15 of the Unwired Appalachia podcast. We will see you next week, talking a little bit more about
Joe Montana week next week? Number
Joe
16?
Montana week. It's also Jared Goff week. That's just right off the top of my head.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why I said that. Jared Goff week. Joe Montana week, I guess, would be the way to go. And we'll be talking a little more about some of these bowl games. We'll recap some of these bowl games and definitely be on. Go check out the Jim Matney interview if you haven't done that. Great interview.
There's all kinds of interviews to check out. Check out the Jim Matney interview, the Devin Johnson interview, the Cody Rice interview, all about Isaac Dixon. I mean, there's so many of them. Chris McNamee, Jackson Hensley. Just go check our social media out. All kinds of kids having good stuff to say. There's all kinds of highlights there. We'll be having more in each paper. I mean, basketball season started as well.
Yeah, we ain't even talked about that.
We've not started high school basketball, really. We've got our previews out. A lot of stuff going on already. We'll give a shout out to Phelps' Danielle Prater. She scored her 2,000 point the other night. You know, we're in Lexington. We're not going to be the places like that
Right.
to cover basketball right now. Got a lot of championship magazines coming out. We're going to have a Pike County Championship magazine featuring Pikeville and Belfry, and we'll have a Johnson Central Championship magazine. Also, with our All Mountain team still coming up, so a lot of stuff coming up.
What they're trying to say is these guys are very busy putting out this content. So go check us out at Unwired App, all of the social medias, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Give us a follow.